AFCON, let's party like it's 2021, huh? We're taking it back one whole year. Oh shit!
Whoops, my finger slipped.
Y2K just happened. Um, I was gonna say play that music, but since you already did, we'll skip the music entirely. Let's get right into the football. But how about AFCON kicking off? You had Cameroon starting up against Burkina Faso, and
The host with the most.
boy, was it a rampant affair, that one. It was chaotic, big, big chaotic energy in that game. Two pens. I mean, albeit clear pens, like it wasn't controversial in that sense, but it's just very chaotic.
Mm.
Also, Burkina Faso get taking the lead relatively early, a bit of a obviously against the narrative there with Cameroon having the significantly stronger squad, being the host as well. Um, but look, a good start for Burkina Faso for a short period of time, and then quickly back in the doldrums with two pens, two very well taken pens from Vincent Abubakar, who
Nice.
where does he play? Does he play in Turkey? I think he plays in Turkey, right?
No, I think he plays in the Middle East now, but he did play for Porto for a little while.
Yeah, that's of Porto fame. I thought so.
Of Porto.
Abu Bakar.
Vincent Abubakar. I think he played in the.
2020 to 2021, he was at Besiktas. So he was in Turkey,
Oh, he was
and
in Turkey. Yeah,
he was
okay.
in Turkey, and now he is Al Nasser. So
Okay, yeah, Saudi
you're right.
Arabia. Yeah,
Yep,
okay.
yep, yep. But two very well taken pens. He took the first one very decisively, no stutter in his run up, and the second one he gave him the stutter, gave him the eyes the same way he took the first one and put it the other. I thought that was very like only an experienced player can really do
That's
something
some
like
good
that.
penalty taken.
Some good penalty taken. From
Gotta
the
love.
captain, from the captain as well. So you gotta love that shit. Essentially
Mm,
carried his
mm.
team in the opener there, but a good start to the tournament. I thought. I
Mm.
feel like international football tournaments they need the chaotic opener. You need that.
100%.
You need that game where it doesn't sort of really matter who's out on the field. They're just going to play their heart out because they're sort of hyped up. They're caught in the moment, so to speak.
Especially
Um,
when the hosts are involved.
Yes, of course, of course. But a great start for the tournament overall. But maybe for one of the bigger teams in the tournament in Cameroon, probably not the most inspiring, I suppose.
Mm.
To have to get two pens to overcome Burkina Faso. But look, it's early days. First game of the group stage. It's been a bit tumultuous to get the players in there and get
Mm.
them all into the country and get them playing and focused on the tournament because it's been a bit of a shit fight to just organize everything because
Mhm.
clubs have been fighting against it. They've been spitting things in the media, trying to get the media to downplay the tournament and make it seem as if the players are bothered or burdened by having to go there. Um, but look, it's here, it's happening, and it was a good start to the tournament.
Speaking of the on that topic, did you see that story about Ismail Assar from Watford?
No, like I
He gets called up on international duty, though Watford provided all the paperwork and two independent doctors' opinions on his knee injury, saying that
hmm,
he can't play on it. They decide to fly him out all the way to the tournament in Cameroon. They go to train and do some I guess a bit more intense training, and he goes, I can't do it. And then the doctors look at it, they look at the reports and go, yeah, probably shouldn't have called him up. So they sent him back to Spain where he was getting his treatment before he even got with the team. So they just
oh
literally
god.
carted this man around halfway across the world for no reason.
Ah, you
That's
know,
football for you.
do you reckon? Because he really is that kind of player that if he was fit and playing for them, he does, you know, probably add a good bit to their quality.
Oh,
So,
100%.
do you think they were just sort of like roll on the dice? You never know. Maybe he'll have like some sort of miracle
Why not?
recovery.
Yeah, why not? I get it. You roll the
Move
dice.
your,
You
move your
can't make
camera
it
down.
look.
I'm talking to just like your chin up. Just pull your camera down a bit.
Oh,
There you
sorry.
go. There you go. There you go. Go on.
But I get it. I guess he could be a game changer alongside, the likes of Mane and stuff like that
Yeah.
up front. But like, if you've been told by the club he can't play, two independent medical professionals say he can't play, I think
Yeah,
that means he can't play. I
yeah,
don't
yeah,
know.
no, yeah. It was dumb. It was a dumb move. But hey, you got to take a chance. You never
You
know.
gotta, true, yeah. If you don't ask the question, you don't know
Maybe
the
the
answer.
change in air pressure and the airplane will fix something in his leg. You don't know.
You never know. Maybe, yeah, maybe the lack of oxygen.
Nigeria versus Egypt. Two of the this is probably the first big game with two heavy hitters in it.
Mm, mm,
Um, but in all honesty, didn't feel like that when you were watching it. Nigeria was all over Egypt, like just running rampant. I think it was like 15 shots to Egypt's five, something like that.
mm,
Even less so on target. Just they couldn't deal with Nigeria's physicality. Just couldn't stop the ball in transition. Every time they lost it, it felt like they were dealing with a counter attack. They couldn't really get any service to Mo Salah, who felt like he was playing more of like a number nine than he was like a center forward, so to
mm,
speak. Like he really felt like out on an island. You know, they just kind of put him up there. Hope we can get the ball to him and he can just do some magic. Um, and really, it was one good shot from Iheanacho early in the game, and Nigeria just sort of held that lead from there. There was a couple of scares, Mo Salah did eventually get a chance that he wasn't able to make much of, but I thought a pretty good showing for Nigeria. They looked very strong. Out of the
mm,
games I've watched so far, I felt like they were the most well-rounded team, from top to bottom. I don't know if that's what it's like on paper. I haven't really done like a good analysis across all the teams to see where they all stack up, but at least in terms of the eye test, they look the most well-rounded, balanced squad. And when they've got players like Ian Archer who can pop up with a goal when it's clutch, I think they're going to be one of the teams to watch for the tournament for
mm,
sure.
definitely a dark horse.
Now this game probably wouldn't have put it on here had it not been for the tremendous performance from one Mohamed Kamara. What a
Mm,
king! So Sierra Leone versus Algeria, it ended 0-0, but only because of this one man. He was ridiculous out there.
mm,
Reflexes, bravery, just like some of the most unorthodox saves I've seen in a long time. You
mm-hmm.
know,
Thinking
uh,
outside the box.
yeah, for sure. Yeah, literally, there was at one
Literally
point
outside his.
he was making a tackle outside the 18-yard box, which I thought was
Mm, mm.
ridiculous,
And he was
with
flapping
players
out all
around him.
the low crosses and everything like that. He
Yeah,
was just anything and everything that was within an arm's reach for him, he went and
yeah.
got it.
You know what was crazy though? He made a lot of those risky sort of attempts to try to
Mm,
intercept crosses and stuff.
mm,
But anytime he did get a hand on it, it went into he was really good at directing it into an area of less danger,
mm,
which I thought was like, he's taken a lot of risks. It's very, uh, unorthodox to do that.
mm,
But if he somehow managed to consistently parry them into, safe regions, then, fuck, more power to him. There's sweeper keepers and all that. He's just taken that sort of mindset of, high
mm,
risk, high reward to bringing it all the way back to when you're even within like slow pace moments of the game where they're right up at your doorstep. Like there was that one moment where two of his defenders were closing in on a striker, and while he's holding up the play, he just decides I'm going to lunge out at him and tackle him. That was mental.
Could have gotten a red, but hey, he got away with it.
Hey, he got away with it. I don't think we've seen a keeper with this sort of energy for a long
No,
time. I
no,
feel
no.
like keepers these days, there's a very good template for what works for a goalkeeper, and European football in particular has done a great job of churning out these sort of goalkeepers that fit that sort of mold where they can distribute the ball both with their hands and with their feet, and they're also great at like sort of coming out and intercepting plays and dealing with one-on-one situations. We haven't really had these sort of keepers where they have unique styles for a very long time. And I
Mm,
thought that was it was nice to shine a light on him. Also, him kind of coming to tears when he got the Man of the Match award.
mm.
It's just a good
Wholesome
show,
moment.
wholesome, but also shows like international football means a lot for
Yeah.
players of this caliber that maybe don't get a lot of opportunities to shine on a stage as big as this.
Mm.
It really means a lot to them. It gives them a platform.
Yeah, 100%. 100%. Well said.
So the final of the key games, Senegal played as well. I just didn't have a lot of takeaways from it. But the last of the sort of key fixtures for me in the first round was Morocco versus Ghana. Again, probably two of the bigger teams in the tournament. But another one where in which one of the teams never really got going. Ghana struggled at the gate. Um, They had one shot from distance, which drew a great save from lead singer of U2, Bono. Uh, I had a look at who Morocco's keeper was. I'm like, Bono. But old mate made a spectacular save, ridiculous save, and that was about it.
continuing
He just chilled
continuing his
from there on
form.
out.
Yeah,
Yeah. He's been in stellar form. What age bracket is he in?
I believe he is 24.
Yeah, he looks very young.
He
When they
looks.
cut to him,
I thought he was a lot younger than 24, just
hmm,
by his baby face
very baby faced.
face.
Yeah, he's
um,
baby face.
but he's definitely come out of really nowhere, especially at Sevilla, and for his national team Morocco, who's had a bit of a chaotic build up. Just some internal strife. I know Ziyech didn't get picked,
Yeah,
and they had just a bit of quabble, bits and pieces of disagreement within the squad, and a bit of a mixed build up. Um, but they're one of the also dark horses, because if you look through that team, there are some definitely good players in there that can definitely make change games, like
yeah,
Bruno, or Bono, and yeah, that can definitely affect the game, and potentially get you a point or two in the group stages, or make a key save. Because at the end of the day, this is tournament football.
yep,
You got to risk it to get the biscuit, and keep going through to the final. So there's no playing for points. You just keep going, and throw everything on the line, which I guess makes it more important, and gives some players that can make a difference a chance to make a difference.
yeah, 100%. More opportunities to sort of step up because there's more of those sort of clutch, make or break situations in tournament football because
Mm,
the shorter format, the knockout format, and all that. I think the only of the big teams we haven't seen play yet is Ivory Coast.
mm-hmm.
But I mean, I feel like I'm just grasping at straws. Probably not the strongest Ivory Coast team ever.
No, not
You know?
compared to their heyday,
Yeah, yeah,
the mid to early 2000s. But
yeah. Just because you've got here, who's our pick to win the tournament.
mm,
Really, they were the only ones left I'd like to have gotten a look at. But in all
mm.
honesty, I don't really have them in there. So who have you got? Who do you? What's your
I've
pick?
got Senegal. I'm
Yeah,
picking Senegal because if you look through the team, top to bottom,
yeah.
really, really high quality players. Salah, Mane, we
Salah.
mentioned. Not Salah, sorry, Mendy. I'm used to talking about Sane
Yeah,
and Mane and Salah in the same breath, so it just rolls off the tongue. But
yeah,
Mane, Mendy,
yeah,
and Koulibaly, just a few names to mention that are in the team.
yeah,
Really, really can definitely win on both ends. I think they're a very, very balanced team.
yeah, yeah,
Obviously with
yeah.
Mane,
They
you
got
have that
Idrissa Gay.
Idrissa Gay, like they're
Yeah,
very,
yeah.
very balanced top to bottom. It's just a matter of whether they can put it all together, and go through to the final.
Mhm.
Another favorite icon as well, just because they've got players in the bag, but also they're they're the defending champs, Algeria, um, as well. Definitely have talents like
Yeah,
Mahrez, Saeed Ben Rama as well,
yep,
who can definitely again be game changers and create a bit of magic to really um, you know get you across the line, and into the next stages of the tournament. I think those two would be my pick. I'm definitely leaning more on Senegal, just because I mean the quality from top to bottom is really, really good.
yeah,
You
yeah. Fair.
definitely some players that have played in big matches before, and have that experience.
I I'm gonna do two picks because you've done two picks, and I'm
Mm,
gonna go with two. So personally, I think Senegal is the favorite to win the tournament. They're not
mm,
my pick, but I think they're the favorites.
mm,
Going into it. I don't care what the bookies have, but like they are the most balanced squad. Um, in very especially for tournament football, some of the most key positions. They've got some of the best players in the whole tournament in those positions.
mm,
With Mane in terms of a goal scorer, and then Mendy in terms of a shot stopper. The two of the most key positions on the field in the tournament, and they've got probably the best in those spots. But if I was disregarding them, I have Nigeria first, just because I was so
mm,
impressed with their performance against Egypt. They've got goal scorers, they've got good defenders, and they've got very, very strong physical players and a good rotation. Where if they lose your Iheanacho or Ndidi, yeah, those players. I don't think any team in the tournament could replace those guys because they're very unique. But the rest of the team is rather balanced, good rotation, physical squad. They've got Chukwueze in there, for example. Um, I just think they're very physical, and I don't think teams are ready for it because they're coming in with a tight schedule. I don't think they're going to have the rotation to deal with it. So I think Nigeria is, in my opinion, the my pick to win. And then second behind that is I've got Egypt, just because
Ooh.
I think eventually there's gonna be a time where Mo Salah turns it on. He's been playing way too well for him to not
Mm,
sort of hit some sort of ultra instinct mode in the fucking AFCON. You know what I mean? Like it
mm,
really would be like it's so to narrative for this guy who's, in my opinion, clearly been the best player in world football for the last 12 months to sort of make this tournament his own and really shine. In watching this game, he looked frustrated, but he also looked like he just needed a bit of time to bed in. My only worry is after seeing that first game is that maybe it doesn't matter how good he plays, the rest of the team around him might just never really click. But
mm.
those are my two picks.
Yeah, it's whoopsie. That was not meant to happen. But yeah, no, it's definitely there's a few dark horses. I'd say there's two clear favorites, and then the rest are all fighting for maybe a luck of the draw or a bounce of the ball to go their way to
Yeah,
really take them deep into it. Because you've got Nigeria, Cameroon, Ivory Coast,
Ghana.
Ghana. You've got a bunch of these guys that we've seen perform well at the World Cup, or even give a fright, and or have some players that can definitely carry them along. It's just a matter of whether they can put it together in a
Mm.
tournament and get that tournament spirit that takes teams further and overcomes a deficit in talent.
Who's got the best coach at the tournament, in your
Who's got
opinion?
the best coach? That's
Like
interesting.
in terms of big names, you got Carlos Queiroz with
Mm,
Egypt,
yeah.
who has been a bit of an old fart these days,
He's
anyways.
pretty
But
defensive. That's the thing. Like
he is there.
he pretty much just parks it and then hope for the best.
Um, and then I believe is who's Algeria's coach?
Uh, I bel I believe it's the Bosnian fella, or maybe that's Morocco's. I always confuse them.
His last name is Belmadi.
Okay, no, that's not him.
No.
Then he must be coach of Morocco.
Um, the reason I asked that is because in tournament football, adjustments coaches make throughout the tournament are very, very important. More so important than in league games. Yeah, and Morocco's coach, he appears to have a
Bahi.
last name. Yeah, he's Halil Hodzic.
There you go. You got it.
Nice. Um, but yeah, what do you reckon? What do you reckon Morocco's chances are?
I don't know. They've had such a, I guess, tumultuous lead up to the tournament. I
Because you know
know
what I mean.
that.
Like they've got some standards. Obviously, we talked about the lead singer of U2. They've got
Yeah,
Saiz. They've got Hakimi. You know what I mean.
yeah.
Boufal.
No Ziyech, he wasn't called up, but
No.
and that was part of the drama. But I don't know. It's hard to say where they'll finish. I think I can't see them going too far. Maybe quarterfinal at best. If they kind of get a couple of results go their way and a couple of bounces go their way. But I just don't see it. Like I understand Ziyech hasn't been playing a lot, and he can also be a bit detrimental
Yep.
with attitude and be a pain in the ass. But I don't know why he wouldn't call him up. That's my only gripe I'd have. I mean, it's international football. You're supposed to pick the best players in form at the moment for these types of things. But again,
You know the only reason
mhm.
I would say he's probably he might have like not a personal vendetta or anything, but he might just not like him in terms of how he fits in the locker room.
Yeah,
And if you look at his coaching style, there's nowhere to put him in. Like he
yeah,
plays a 4-1-4-1. Like where do you put Ziyech in a 4-1-4-1? He can't play out wide as an actual right or left midfielder, and he can't play in the middle as a pure center mid. So
yeah.
he's a between
I
the
think
lines
it's
type
both.
player.
I
Totally,
think it's both.
yeah, exactly. I just think he was a he was willing to leave him on the sidelines. Probably thought he wasn't going to use him anyways. He's like, why am I going to bring the toxicity if I'm not going to get any reward for it? So
Yeah.
okay, so Senegal and Algeria,
Mm-hmm.
and then I've got Nigeria and Egypt. So we got a 1 in 4 chance of being correct. I like
There
these
you
odds.
go. And well, I was going to say I don't like them knowing our previous
Yeah, telling us
predictions, but
how many teams are in the tournament.
I'm not too sure. There's quite a few actually. I
Yeah,
think
there
there's
is.
um mm, I want to say it'd have to be an even number.
There is one, two, three, four, five, 6 groups of 4.
Yeah, I was
So
going to say
there,
24, 26 teams.
yeah. So we would need a 1 in 24 chance if we were going to be right. Anyway,
I like that.
so A League, only 2 games because of coronavirus, and
Coronavirus.
Victory versus Adelaide.
What a
Uh,
game.
yeah, a good game, a really good game. It's crazy to say a game was good when the first goal came in the 82nd minute, right? But it really was a good game. It was just a tight affair. These teams, I mean, Adelaide, I said it at the beginning of the season that they're just a well run team. They know what they're doing. Everyone's got set roles. They've got a good identity, and they give everyone a good challenge, even when they lost a bunch of players at the start of the season.
Mm,
Um, and Victory have since become a team of that same sort of caliber. So, and that it just felt like a game of that. Two
mm.
teams that were very high level, defending well, creating good chances, but also, setting up the right things to block them. And then we didn't get the deadlock broken until right at the end, from D'Agostino, who hit it.
Super sub.
Crazy goal
Well,
from Wish Jack Harrison. But what was it? Left foot like thunder cunt right into the
well,
top
yeah,
corner.
absolute belter. Left foot on his. I believe that's his weaker foot.
I think
I
so.
remember. I think
Didn't
I
look
read
like it.
somewhere. And yeah, just absolutely blasted top corner. He's really come off the bench a few times and either sealed the game or kind of given him a go-ahead goal late on for victory. So he's turned out to be quite the impact off the bench, especially
Mm,
late for pop-up. But yeah, not to be outdone. Great goal from Craig Goodwin at the end to get that equalizer. But I feel as if though kind of the demons of the game against Western United came to haunt them again. And maybe that could be Victory's Achilles heel moving forward. Just closing games out. Maybe instead of taking away 1 point or 3 point, instead of taking away 3 points, they're taking away 1 point and stuff like that. Maybe that could kind of come to haunt them
mm,
later on in the season when it gets a little bit more towards the dicey end of the season, which could kind of go, could be the difference between finishing first and having a bye, or um, second and having a bye as well, or finishing fourth or fifth. So,
mm.
it can haunt them, but I think overall they have enough firepower moving forward and through the midfield to kind of cover that up. And obviously, with the likes of Miranda as well, Roderick. He's had some great performances in the past, so maybe it's just a freak coincidence. Great play beats good defending type of thing,
Yeah.
and it doesn't really come back to bother them throughout the season and they coast out. But I feel like now it's kind of a bit of a not a concern. I wouldn't hit the alarm button. It's just something to maybe keep an eye out on if you're versing Victory or keeping an eye out as a fan on Victory throughout the season.
Yeah, they did. They have struggled to close out some games toward the end or let some slip. But look, it's relatively. We're just coming up the first third of the season now,
Mm,
so still quite a long way to go. But
mm.
I think they're markedly an improvement on last season overall,
Oh,
not just in terms of the product they put on the field, but the mentality they seem to carry across the team. So look, I think they're probably gonna be so far up the ladder where they're not really considering a point here or there lost, because I think they're going to be well up in those playoff spots, and I think that's going to be looked at as a success on their part. I don't think they're coming into this aiming for the first and second.
mm.
I think that'd just be gravy if they got that. So I think this is going to be a team that will head into, if unless things go really wrong for them, I think they're going to head into the playoffs with really really high confidence levels, because they're going to feel as if they've really hit a home run with how they've turned things around from last season. So, and that confidence alone may take them all the way to the end, even if they finish at fifth, let's say.
Mm,
um, City versus Western Sydney, a wild game, crazy game, 3-all, tons of goals. Wanderers go up early with a cracker goal from Teresi. Actually, a really good weekend for goals, because you had what's his name, um, uh,
D'Agostino.
D'Agostino's goal, Craig Goodwin's goal, and then Troisi's goal in this one. All
Mm,
just terrific goals to watch. And then Rodwell scoring the second. So 2 goals up early. Beautiful start from Western Sydney. Never
mm,
expected that
mm.
against this Melbourne City team, especially away from home.
Defending champs.
Defending champs. But look, I will have to give it to City. They really put their big boy pants on after they scored the second goal and turned it around quick, huh?
Definitely started slow,
Yeah.
and then they just kind of got in. You could see they got into a groove. They shook the early stage fright and surprise off, and really just kind of looked like the City of old,
Yeah.
and really kind of got into their rhythm.
Mm.
McLaren was making great runs. The overlapping fullbacks
Just killing us,
were
killing us.
great.
Yeah, the cutbacks, just cutback after
Yeah,
cutback after
100%.
cutback. Yeah,
Yeah, it felt like with all the chances that were being created, eventually the goal would come. It
yeah.
wasn't even a matter of if, but when. But it was.
Because
I
the,
hate you know.
the first goal, their first goal came, and then the equalizer came, and then quite quickly after the equalizer, Jamie McLaren almost scored another goal, which he missed,
Mm,
essentially an open goal by himself. So
Good point.
they could have stormed all the way back to 3-2 in the matter of like
Mm,
10-15 minutes. It was
mm.
crazy.
And yeah, and inversely, Wanderers could have been up 3-0 if Kajira doesn't his wonder shot doesn't hit the post and
Yeah.
bounce out. So
Uh-huh.
it's one of those things. But I think the problem here is how can you go up nearly 3-0 and then lose all semblance of a hold on the game and then go down to lose 3-2? To draw the game 3, or I feel as if the I can't. It's again. And probably something we've touched on a few times already. But that midfield, it just seems so porous. Like it just doesn't. It feels like Sydney's on the Western Sydney's on the attack. They have their chance. Either they fluff it by passing around and not shooting at all, or they great save or put it wide or whatever it is, and then just all of a sudden it's on the other end, and you were watching Reese. Um, you know,
Yeah.
pull a hamstring, tear his hamstring to try and save save the team out of a goal and another crisis and having to claw their way back. It just feels like it just kind of washes from end to end, and it's not in a good way. It's not in
Yeah.
a entertaining way. It's more in a hair pulling way because
It's
how did that even happen?
well, really, like if I was to ask you, who's our holding midfielder? Who's the guy who's the pacemaker on the team? Who, if we are in a situation where we're up 2-0, can slow the game down and game manage? We don't have that guy. Like that guy
No
doesn't
one,
exist, right?
no one.
So, like for example, when we were playing a combination of Antonis and Ugakovic, you got 2 box-to-box midfielders there. You're just asking for chaos. You know what I mean?
Mm,
Like you're asking for the game to be up and down because that's how they play. Like
mm,
they can't play another way. And then when you have Rodwell instead of one of either of those guys, he gives you much more going forward and much more sort of creativity and direction and purposefulness in the final third. But he's never going to, put his foot on the top of the ball in the middle of the park, like let's say Xavi or Busquets,
mm,
and start, distributing the ball from the middle of the park.
mm.
He's got passing range, but he's just not that sort of, pace setting midfielder. He's not that kind of guy. So I feel like we haven't. He's not that guy. We haven't
It's
got
not
that
that
sort of.
guy.
We haven't got that sort of player. And instead of trying to compensate for that with a well thought out strategy for when we get in those situations, we just don't have that. It's
Mm,
just we just hope that when we get into that situation, that scenario, we've got such a strong lead and we're in such dominance of the game that the other team can no longer come
Just
back into it.
capitulate.
I
Yeah.
just who's the guy that Carl calls over and says, "Hold on, bruv, we're up 2-0. Slow it down." Like who's
Yeah.
the guy? Who's he gonna call
Yeah.
over? Troisi? Like it's not
Like,
like there's Dimitri Petrados like that. We were putting it 2-0 to the defending champs, and that boy Petrados still can't muster a smile on his face because he's exhausted. He's exhausted. He's dead tired. He's so unfit that he can't mentally be in the game because he's just trying to catch his
mm,
breath.
And I just think the attack itself doesn't matter who you put up there. If it's Hemed and Kajiro and Nabini or any sort of combination, including
Yep.
Petrados as well, Kajiro or anyone else, Rodwell, doesn't matter. It just feels like they pass for passing sake. There's no when they shoot, it's not a good high percentage shot. It's after it's either a long shot or after a bunch of
It's a
dithering in
broken
the
play.
box.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then they shoot or it bounces their way. It just doesn't make sense to me when you're down 3-2. You know, you're doing what Tracy's doing, and he's dinking it in the box when he's already there. What are you dinking it for? Just shoot. You're in the box, mate. Just have it. There's no point in trying to pass it into the net, or there's no point in cutting it back. Just rifle it, mate. You showed us in this very game that when you rifle it from around the edge of the box, you can score. So why don't you keep doing that? You think that someone who scored would have the confidence, and good on Kajira. He was making a lot of great runs, but he was also suffering from that as well in this game,
Mhm.
where he just didn't shoot. I don't know what Carl tells him to do in the final third, but whatever he needs to
Yeah.
do, I think to
Yeah.
just do the
Well,
opposite.
I
Just
can I,
shoot.
I can tell you right now, Kajiro and Troisi's disposition to shoot is because they're not strikers. They're not
Yeah.
forwards at all, and that
Mm.
shows you that we've kind of had to makeshift and patchwork patterns of play when players that shouldn't be in positions to be shooting are found most often in those positions, right?
Mm.
That tells me that whatever sort of game plan the coach is drawing up isn't being fulfilled because why are you going to draw it up for these guys to end up with the ball? Last game is not the best example for Kajiro because he was playing as the striker, right?
Mm.
But I don't think we brought that boy on board to have him making runs in behind and getting one-on-one with goalkeepers. You know what I
No.
mean? Like that's not what his highlight tape had at all, right?
Mm.
So I just
Scored
feel
one
as
goal
though
last season in Japan.
exactly. I feel as though yes, it's 3-3. It was good to see in a sense that this team was at least much more gutsy than they've been in recent
Mm.
games, and they took it to this team. But I think we even said this for the last time that they've won a game or performed well. It just doesn't feel sustainable because
No.
this one in particular, because you have Kajiro playing as a striker, which isn't going to happen very often. We've just had an injury to Reece Williams, which means that it's definitely not sustainable because it can't even be the same lineup anymore without him in it.
Mm.
Um, we have what's his name? The issue of Ugarkovic, Antonis, and Rodwell. We're still not sure of what exactly is that pairing because that still didn't feel like a balanced midfield out there. So I still feel like more questions than answers out of this game.
I said it before, and I'll probably say it now, so the wider audience can hear it. But I don't think with the way that things have gone in the first 7 to 8 games so far, I just don't see this team making the six. Like it's just too much of a pendulum swing in the game where it's going back and forth, and in the end they're not getting results. They're not getting the wins that they need to be taking it to these guys that are like the likes of MacArthur,
Yeah,
Victory, and City. Even if yeah, okay, great. If you asked me before the game 3-3, would I be happy with the point? I go yeah, but in the manner that if you told me to go 2-0 up and then throw it away, then I'm disappointed.
of
And
course, of
again,
course.
with just the constant, I feel like it's every week we come up with a new question or no answers or development in the team, and
Mm.
just more conjecture around will Carl survive? What's going on in the background? I can't foresee this team, figuring it out. It sounds pessimistic and sounds like all hope is gone, but realistically,
Well,
maybe the saving grace with these interruptions, maybe it's going to give them more time to train or more time
yeah,
to nut it out. But if they've gone from, they haven't played a game in what's that, 20 days or 3 or 4 weeks, and they
Mhm.
still look discombobulated. What hope do we have of
Yeah, well, that's what I was gonna say. I
fully
don't think
getting
it,
on track?
I don't think it's too pessimistic because they haven't really showed us anything up until this point.
Mm,
So anything that they build upon will need to be started from the next game because it's still we still haven't we haven't gotten off square one yet. So
mm,
you know what I mean? Like I don't think it's completely pessimistic to think a team that's 8 or 9 games in who hasn't figured it out yet won't make the top six. I think that's a fair assessment. I
mm.
think the only reason it feels a bit hard to say it is because the team on paper should perform
Too
significantly better.
talented. Too
Yeah,
talented.
should perform significantly better than they do. So you kind of hold out hope that because when it does click, if it does ever click, potentially it could be very good. But we've
Mm.
just never even seen a glimpse of it so far.
No.
Um, anyways, let's get into the FA Cup.
The magic of the FA Cup. Boy, did we have some near misses, but also some big upsets.
Go
Newcastle
on.
go down to third division side Cambridge,
Mm.
the richest club in the world, brought
Yeah,
down by third division side with a caretaker manager that was a fan favorite 18 months ago. Disappointing stuff, but can you be really surprised that the team that's had one win all season in the league is out of the cup against a much less fancied side? Coincidentally, they both have the same amount of wins against Premier League teams. So there you go.
there you go.
There you go. Kieran Trippier gets signed. Doesn't make a difference really. Signs
No.
up and gets thrown into the deep end. And I think he's
Did
probably
he
going.
play? Did he play?
Yeah, yeah, he played. Yeah,
Oh
he played.
shit!
Yeah, he definitely played.
Welcome to
Um,
Newcastle.
welcome to the smelly quagmire that is Newcastle, aka St James's Park. And they're also rumored to sign Chris Wood this morning for £20 million, which is his release clause. Of all the players and all the things to really spend £20 million on, Chris Wood is definitely the furthest thing from the top of the list there. But if you look elsewhere, we had Spurs and Morecambe, the
Chris
Shrimps.
Wood's 30.
Chris Wood is 30, and
He's 30.
yeah, his release clause is 20 million. So it's like, what's 20 million when you've got $300 billion to your name?
Yeah, but surely there's other players because he's not even. He doesn't. I don't think he counts as a homegrown spot because he's
Uh
from New Zealand
he might because he has been in the English game for a while
for a
now.
long
So
time. Yeah,
he might.
maybe he
He
counts,
might.
but
He has been to Burnley for a while, but I mean, I don't know what that even means. Really, I don't know where I was going to go with it, but it's
yeah, but it
Burnley.
just it just kind of it just kind of shows you they're just yeah, they've bought Kieran Trippier, but it doesn't feel like how when Man City got the oil money, oh,
Yeah,
they're gonna start buying everyone now. Like it doesn't have that sort of that feel of it because it's like, oh, we're gonna splurge. Well, who are we getting? Chris Wood.
Chris Wood. What was I going to say? I was going to say get Robinho on the phone. See if
Yeah, get him
he's
on
down
the.
to play. Just don't take him to Italy.
Uh,
But yeah, it's just a weird thing altogether. Like you've
yeah,
got a sovereign wealth fund funding you, and you still suck. You know what? They should hire the chairman of Toronto FC. He did a bang up job, and that
bro,
Insigne
tremendous
Insigne fucking transfer. Who is expiring from the Italian national team? Look at transfer market and
by him.
buy him, offer him
His
a
his next
boatload of
his
money.
next move is gonna set up a filtered search for regens, and he's gonna start signing them. He's like,
Guys
hey,
with the same name as legends. There's going to be a Best out there, like a George Best or something, and he's going to, yep, that's my man right there.
oh, weird stuff, man, weird stuff. Hey, anything can
Um,
happen in the metaverse.
Anything's possible. But yeah, so Spurs and Morecambe. Spurs early scare. Were down from the 33rd minute onward, but they claw themselves back, which seems to be a bit of a, I guess, Conte's MO for now, where he's put a bit of chutzpah in the lads at on Tottenham Road, and they've been able to claw back or keep some fight to stay alive in the game.
Not
So
not something we've seen from
no,
any Spurs side ever, but
no, no,
definitely at least in the last you know couple months for sure.
yeah, 100%.
This is new for them.
But yeah, 74th minute onwards, 3 goals, sealed the deal. Kane Moore winks. all get on the goal scoring sheet. But it wouldn't be Spurs if there wasn't some sort of player drama. And this time it's Ndombele. Took his time, just took the piss out of walking off the pitch at home, and gets booed by the home fans.
Yeah,
And
severely.
then severely, absolutely thrashed. This man is on $220,000 pounds per week, and cost 60 million
Yeah,
pounds from Leon 2 seasons ago, and looks not even 1/8 of that value.
no,
As much of a fan as I am of him, he has sucked recently, so I will admit to that.
yeah,
But it looks like he's on the way out. Conte's had some coded messaging about talking to him in private,
yeah.
not
I think
bringing
that
it out in front of
I,
everyone.
I think because he did say that, and he's like, I don't want to talk about it out loud. It's take it behind closed
Yeah.
doors. And isolated, that doesn't sound too alarming. But
Mm,
then in that same interview, he's asked about another player, Steven Bergwijn, and he just
mhm,
drops this glowing review of this player who,
Even though it will be sold,
you know what I mean? Like
unsold.
it shows like if he wants to say if it's something nice, he's gonna say it. If it's something positive, he's
Mm,
gonna say it. So if him saying I'm gonna talk about this privately, it means it's gonna be very, very bad for this player. And I
yeah,
think this is probably one of the last times we're gonna see Ndombele in a Spurs shirt.
he gave him a chance, and doesn't seem like it's gonna work out.
But
But
I think this guy, he's not gonna make it anywhere. Like you can't have this many
well,
coaches dislike you, bro. Like there's a lot of
yeah,
coaches not liking you.
it's
Like
true.
I'm
But
talking, if he could probably go back to like Liga or a smaller league and rip it up because he's got a great skill set. But like I just feel like any coach that gets him and he's like, all right, we're in Champions League football. I need you to press. I need you to do this. He just doesn't have the gas tank for it. And I feel
Mhm.
bad for him because I don't think it's an effort thing. Like it doesn't seem like it's that. I just think he has a small gas tank, so a small pair of
Mm,
lungs, little tiny baby
mm,
lungs, you know.
Babylon.
So now he's Ngombole. that's
Nice.
off. That's off Reddit. I stole that off Reddit.
And nice, like all our content.
Like all our
Um,
content, huh?
but also speaking of London, Gunners, the Los Blancos of London, surprise, shock loss to Middlesbrough, 1-0. Lewis Graben, the man least like the only striker that's less likely to score than actually doing his job, but snatches it in the 83rd. Really, it was a largely rotated side. You only had the likes of White, Odegaard, Gab Martinelli, and Saka starting. The rest were, you had the likes of Cedric Suarez, Bernd
That's
Leno.
still a lot, though.
It
And
look,
also, did you say Bernd Leno? Like that counts as a starter. Like I know he's not a
oh,
starter, but that
he hasn't
counts as a
started in a
starter.
while, but
Yeah, but in
hasn't
comparison
started
to
in a while.
Middlesbrough, that's a starting Premier League player. Like you
That
know
is
what
a
I mean?
that is a
Come
Champions
on.
League quality at least.
Yeah, like it's a
Goalkeeper.
bit dog to be like, oh yeah, they didn't have any of their starters, but they had a guy that would normally be a starter. And
Hey, look,
it's
bro,
like
but he hasn't
if
started in a while. It's about semantics in
if
football. It's not
if
about
you have, if you
stats.
have White, so White, Odegaard, Martinelli,
And
Saka, and
Saka.
I'm gonna count Leno.
Oh,
That's
yeah,
five.
yeah.
That's nearly
Mm,
half the team. Like that's really against Middlesbrough. Like you can't lose against Middlesbrough, especially in the FA Cup. Like that's your thing, Arsenal.
But you can't lose in the way they did, which is 10 shots, none on target, 70% possession, nothing to show for it. Like,
Nothing,
how?
nothing.
Like, they
Really was
decided
terrible.
they looked at their kids like, hey, bro, this is so close to Casper. Why don't we just ghost this
I
game?
just
Let's not
ghost this
show
fucking
anything.
game. You
Let's
know
just
what?
ghost this game. Let's
I
ghost
what
the FA Cup.
when I saw those jerseys come out, I'm like, they're gonna play dog shit in those because they look like Tottenham kids. Like you're gonna play, you're wearing your rivals' kits. Like when was that ever a good idea? What a moron! It's gonna
Look, the thought was
imagine
really nice.
Barca.
The
Imagine
gesture's
Barca
great.
did a kit and it was the all white kit. You'd be like, are you fucking kidding me? Like it's our rivals, bro.
Or Real Madrid doing a red and yellow one
Yeah,
like the
yeah,
Barcelona.
yeah, yeah. Red and blue, you mean? Yeah. Oh
But
yeah,
like
like the
the
Catalan
Catalan
kit.
flag, yeah,
That would
yeah.
make even less sense because it's Catalan. You know what I mean? It's just
Yeah, but yeah.
I didn't like it at all. I didn't
Yeah,
like
no,
it at all.
I like
It's
the gesture and
gorgeous.
the idea behind it.
Yeah.
Like I
And it
like the
looks
cause
great.
behind it,
Yeah.
but it's just you can't you can't wear all white kit and then spurs it up while you're
Come on,
there.
son. Yeah, yeah. Yeah, exactly.
You can't do that. You
Spurs
can't.
impression.
Yeah, like Spurs came back from behind and won, and then you go, oh. That's cool. Let's do what they normally do and
Yeah,
capitulate and have nothing to show for it. But
stupid.
look, less games.
Spurs should do an away kit now where it's like red with white sleeves.
That would be a piss take and a half.
Oh god,
Man, that'd
I
be
remember
great.
there's this
I'd love
video I've
to.
seen in some it wasn't documentary, but like some little short video about the Spurs and Arsenal rivalry, and
Mm.
it's like there was talking to this Spurs fan, and he's like, "Oh, when Arsenal first formed and they brought out their kits, I knew when I saw the white sleeves, they're just trying to be like us. I just died when I saw that. I'm like, man, it's just white sleeves."
It's just white sleep. It's hilarious how
Oh,
tribal
boys.
they get about it, but
Yeah,
hey, that's the fun part of football.
a
And
hundred
also,
percent.
how funny is it that you know, everyone, Spurs are in crisis, blah blah blah, and then Gunners just go, you know what? Let's do a better job here and just completely fuck up the FA Cup against the
Yeah.
Championship side. But look, less games for them, which means less game time for less rotation for Bernd Leno,
Mm.
and less headache selection. So it's just now just focus on the league, and get
That's
more
gonna
money out of
that's gonna
motivation.
hurt. That's gonna hurt for Leno because like them losing that game essentially ends this season. Because when does he play again?
Hopefully Ramsdale stays fit.
Yeah,
Famous last words. And then finally in the FA Cup, the other red team, Man United, they get it.
Manchester Red.
Manchester Red, according to Pez, or eFootball, sorry,
Yeah,
eFootball. They get it done. They've got to win. They've remembered how to do that. McTominay grabs an early winner in the 8th minute. But result aside, still not good. Still not looking pretty for United. But at least they had some graft in the game. They fought, even though they were on the back foot for a large part of the game. Maybe lucky as well, you could say, with the VAR decision. Gerard thinks that probably changed the game and gave them um, the leg up they needed, or respite after a constant Villa bombarding. After a
you'd
three
have
minute VAR
you'd have
review.
to agree. Like I wouldn't say like because of that 3 minute rest, the Man United players are revitalized, but I don't believe that. But for sure, if you stop a game for 3 minutes, the momentum changes. Like the players
Especially
aren't going
after
to be in the
almost
same
scoring a
rhythm.
goal.
Yeah,
Especially
yeah.
after almost scoring a goal, like almost deserve, like getting a reward for
Three,
your
3 minutes is too
for
long.
effort.
That's you don't
Yeah,
need that. That's too long
but
for a review.
it's a long review, and I understand why it could have been because it's a bit of a contentious. I personally wouldn't have given it because you can see Cavani sees young Jacob Ramsey standing there, and he kind of goes down softly to me. Doesn't
Yeah, yeah,
really.
yeah. He looked for
Jalen
it.
Ramsey just standing his ground, like sorry, Jacob Ramsey. He's just standing there, like I don't know what else he's supposed to do. It's not like he put a shoulder in, but then I can also see the fact that if Cavani is able to go around Ramsey, does he kind of block the goal or does he affect the flight of the ball in any way? Half and half, So I can't. But for three, you'd think that as 4 or 5 professional refs, you'd be able to come to a decision a little bit quicker
Yeah.
than 3 minutes. But nevertheless, Man United get it done. They hold down. Obviously, a bit of luck. Unfortunate for sorry, Gerard and Villa deserve to at least something out of the game, at least a
Yeah.
goal. But that's not the case. They've got Coutinho as well for the rest of the season now, which is a coup, I guess, for them. I don't think personally it's going to work out
I don't know
because I
what he
think
can do anymore, to be honest with you.
what's he done? Now he's 29. He's barely played. When he has played for Barca, he's looked a ghost of his former self. He had that spell at Bayern. Most memorable thing he's done was score one of the 8 that against Barca in the Champions League quarterfinal or semi-final all those years ago. It's I can't I'm not quite sure what are they expecting from him. The guy's been oft
I don't
injured.
know.
They play 4-3-3, which is
Is
well
he
sometimes they do.
is it a loan or is it a signing?
No, it's a loan. No, the loan for the rest of the season.
Hmm.
They play
I can,
a fee and 70% of his
the only
wages.
the only angle I can see is maybe like Gerard saw the opportunity and
Mm,
he's like, well, it's a loan. Where else am I going to find this caliber of player without having to buy him, or pay a
mm,
big fee
mm,
for him?
mm,
Um, and maybe he thinks I know the guy that I knew the guy when he was at his best.
Mm.
Maybe I can get him close to that again. I don't know, something along
Mm.
those lines. Like I can get this guy his form back because I
Captain
was around.
Saberhome.
You know what I mean? But ah, I just
I-
feel like what's his like I've just what's he got at the moment? Like he
What
he
does
hasn't
yeah?
he hasn't played in so long, and when he has, even when it's not marred by injury or anything like that, he just doesn't show anything.
Mm.
So, like I can't really say like because if it was a confidence thing, I could say okay, maybe connecting with Gerard again in a team that looks to him as a leader, maybe his confidence will come back. But it doesn't seem like it's a confidence issue. It just feels like it's more of like a combination of injuries, confidence, not really giving a fuck, being part of a failing program at Barcelona,
Mm.
not
Mm.
being given a lot of chances to shine, and it's just all come together. Now he's 29. Like, is he really
This-
going to make another
that
wave now? Like,
like if he's gonna have a renaissance at 29 on a guy that relied a lot on his physical, his ability to get by defenders and be durable enough to take a beating when you can. After these injuries and long layoffs, and at 29, what more? What does a successful loan for him look like? Really, like if you
yeah,
think about it, if it's is it 5 goals, is it 10 goals, or is it just being a creative presence that Villa maybe has missed since Jackie G's departure, which is one of the things they've talked about. But then, where does he fit? Because if you're going to move to a system that has a number 10 that he slots in, then all right, fair enough. I see your point. But they play 4-3-3 a lot of the time. He can't play left wing. He's shown us that at Barca and at Liverpool. He
mhm.
can't play centre mid. What does he fit in?
Yeah, yeah. I don't know.
I'm
I feel like
it's
it's just another task for Stevie G. It's just he's giving himself some more work. I don't know if
yeah.
it was his move of the clubs, but it feels like one of those ones where it's going to take a lot of good planning and execution on part of the coaching staff
Mm,
to get him in a position where he's successful. Because
mm,
there's, like you said, there's nowhere in the current Aston Villa system where you can just go, okay, this is where he goes, and it makes the team better. Like it's
mm,
not there. They have to
yeah,
to landscape around him.
mm,
Let's wrap up on this one. Next week, Asian Cup starts for the women. We've got the Matildas in there starting against Indonesia in the very first game of the tournament at a very nice 9 p.m.
perfect time for a cold beer.
Beautiful time for a fucking cold beer and a game of football. And it's a really sad life as an Australian football viewer when you get excited when a game of football is at a good time to watch. 9
You
p.m.
don't
Good
have to,
stuff.
yeah. You don't have to ruin your your sleep schedule.
Skip
Um,
schedule.
sleep schedule. Oh man, the spicy food does some fucked up things to your brain. But yeah, definitely excited to see the Matildas back on. I
Yeah.
really enjoyed the Olympic campaign
Yeah.
that they had in Tokyo, which was fun last
Fuck
year.
yeah.
So hopefully we get to see some highs and lows like we did last time, and see if
Yeah.
they can go all the way to the top.
A
I
lot
think you go.
a lot of the interviews that are because obviously whenever there's a tournament to roll out, they do interviews with a bunch of the players. They all say I know they're always going to be up to play a tournament and happy to represent the country, yada yada yada. But a lot of them said they want to win it, which is
Mm,
I feel like isn't normally the language and terminology used by athletes when they're going into a tournament. It's always about putting on a good performance and
mm,
doing right by the fans and yada yada yada. They're
mm.
very like oh, we're going to go and win it. We want it.
A group of go getters.
You know what I mean? Yeah. So like I want to see this team how they play when they play as if they are the favorites. You know what I mean? Because in
Mm,
Tokyo, in certain matchups, they probably went into it thinking they were the favorites, but against the US, against Canada, against Brazil in
mm,
the friendlies, like it's always the underdog sort of matchup.
mm,
Now they're in a tournament where in which they're likely favorites. They've had Sam Kerr finish high up in the Ballon d'Or voting. They've got a lot of steam going into this tournament. I'm curious to see what it's like to see them play when they're playing as the favorites. Playing with a lot of confidence
mm.
and a chip on their shoulder. I think it's going to be a good watch,
100%.
and we'll keep you posted. Facts and figures, bit of musings, hopefully not a lot of complaints, and some hopefully some a fucking a good tournament of football,
Mm.
and maybe we get to see an Australian team lift the cup. That'd be nice.
Do the double.
Do
We've
the
already
double,
had the men do it. Get the women on board.
100%. Alrighty, follow us on the socials at Last Go Wins Pod on Twitter, at Last Go Wins Podcast on Instagram. at Last Go Wins Podcast on Facebook. Don't forget to catch the replay on Spotify, on YouTube. All glory be to Bozza. Pow pow.
Debo.